Hey everybody, Andy from Tennis Euphoria, bringing you a review of the Head Extreme Pro 2024. So the Pro is the previous tour, renamed to be Pro to bring it in line with other head families. It is the 98 square inch heaviest Extreme at 305 gram target unstrung. Mine was pretty much on spec with regards to static weight, but it was quite underweight with swing weight. So with mine, I'll need to customize it a little to take it up to the sort of 320 to 330 swing weight that this sort of frame really needs to have to be performing optimally. The Extreme line is, of course, the spin-orientated family designed for modern players who want to dominate with power and spin. The Tour, now the Pro, we always found could also appeal to people who are perhaps coming from control-orientated frames and perhaps looking for a bit more power and spin. When people were matched to this frame through our processes, it would be against tough competition, and often one thing would let it down.
We also wanted to keep that kind of crisper feedback, but we wanted a more subtle, more solid sound out of it.
And that feel would be constantly fed back to us. That sort of tinny and hollow feel was very much something we would find.
I think some people describe it as being hollow or tinny.
And as that interview with Dennis Fabian from Head on Tennis Warehouse's Talk Tennis podcast showed us, it looks like Head were really aware of that, perhaps had picked up that feedback a lot from all of their various sources, and it looks like they've worked hard to improve that. Now, we felt that was, and I've always felt that's really only pertinent to the previous tour. Didn't have that issue so much with the MP. We are reviewing the MP at the moment, so subscribe and look out for that review that's coming probably in the next 2 days, and I'll be interested to see if things have been changed there too. But when it comes to this Pro, I'm happy to report that the changes that Head have made have totally fixed that problem. And exactly as Dennis described in that interview, you still now have a crisp and quite powerful response from the frame, but you no longer have that hollow and tinny feel. That sort of weird sound and tinny feel has gone. So now you can focus on the characteristics of the frame without being sort of distracted. And it is, of course, a very fast through the air, very maneuverable frame that does offer quite a lot of power, whilst also offering ample control for most players. So I always think that a huge benefit of this frame is on serve. It can hit a very fast flat serve, and you can really hit your targets as well with more creative serving, be that kick serving or serving with slice or to your targets. How has that change in feel been achieved? Well, clearly there is the addition of Auxetic 2.0, which adds the substance into the handle, so logic would follow that that's probably part of it. But this is been stiffened up a little bit. The RA rating doesn't give you a total picture, but it does suggest things, and it's a bit stiffer in Tennis Warehouse testing, and you can feel that a touch in the frame too. So just overall, you have a more solid response, still crisp, and something that feels of much higher quality, I have to say. One thing I always like to mention with the Extreme Tour, now Pro, is the beam profile at 22, 23 millimeters, 21 is, I think, a very good one. Shared in characteristics with the Head Radical MP, one of, I guess, the best control-orientated frames out there, and what that offers you is pretty good stability against relatively light static weight, and that is the case here. And I suppose one caveat should be that mine, of course, was under spec, and that was a shame, because I think it would have performed even better, much better, at a 320 to 330 swing weight, as I say. So who is this frame for with regards to how we would test and categorize things? I sort of very much suspect now that players who are coming from control-orientated frames, who are looking for a bit more power and spin, will now be shortlisted to this against strong competitors, and more will pick it now because of that feel. I think it really helps players who are playing an all-court game and who value control-orientated frames, but perhaps make errors on approach shots into the net, perhaps struggle with that aggressive play of keeping balls in when they're hitting out, because you have got a good spin profile with this. And I think it could also appeal to players who ultimately are playing with control frames, have an all-court game, but perhaps for whatever reason are looking for a bit more punch compared to their current frames. And as I say, I think that profile of player is going to pick this more now, and it's going to do better against some of the obvious competition. Things like the VCore 98, the VCore 98 Tour, the Aero 98, and a couple of very decent Technofiber frames, particularly the T-Fight ISO 315. I'm not so sure that this is the frame for your all-out spin and power baseliner. I suspect that the MP will still be the one for people to look at next to things like the 100 square inch Pure Aero. But we're hitting the MP right now, and that review will be out over the next couple of days. So do check that out. I really enjoy playing with this. Found that I was enjoying sort of playing towards its strengths. I'd be hitting a lot of kick serves, be hitting a lot of serves out wide. I'd be hitting out aggressively, and I'm very keen to customize this up to where it should be in swing weight. And I think that it's very, very enjoyable to play with. It is now something that, as I say, I think will do loads better. Obvious competitors, I've mentioned them already: VCore 98, VCore 98 Tour, Aero 98. Quick comparisons to those. I actually think that one thing that Hedge should do with this frame is make it a bit heavier, because the VCore 98 Tour probably stands out for me over this frame, and it's still quick enough to be easy to swing. I also think that the Aero 98 with that sort of 330 swing weight remains a slightly better frame, unfortunately. But an excellent update. Please subscribe for the MP and for other reviews coming up. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.